Join me as I dive into the challenge of owning a Belgian Malinois and figure out if it was really a bad idea after all. Bringing home a new puppy is always a thrilling experience. I had spent months researching, reading articles, and watching videos about the Belgian Malinois breed. I had mentally prepared myself for the challenge, or so I thought. I envisioned my future with this majestic dog. Long hikes through nature, intense training sessions where we'd develop a strong bond, and cozy evenings where we'd relax on the couch, enjoying each other's company. It seemed like the perfect scenario, a dream come true. But as I quickly learned, reality had something entirely different in store for me. From the moment my puppy entered the house, I felt an overwhelming energy radiating from her tiny body. The books had warned me about their energy levels, but witnessing it firsthand was something else. My Belgian Malinois was a force of nature, and no amount of research could have prepared me for what was about to unfold. The energy hurricane. From the very first day, I noticed just how much attention and exercise she demanded. She didn't just walk around the house, she zoomed through it as if she were competing in a never-ending race. I remember the first time I tried to play fetch with her in the yard. What I imagined would be a calm, controlled game of fetch turned into her racing around the yard like a whirlwind. She was incredibly fast, darting around corners and leaping in the air with agility that left me breathless. It was both mesmerizing and terrifying. I quickly realized that my ideas of what owning a dog entailed were naive at best. This wasn't going to be a dog that would lie by my feet for hours on end, content with a few toys and occasional play. She needed constant stimulation, not just physically but mentally. Without it, she would quickly get bored, and boredom in a Belgian Malinois is dangerous territory. An endless supply of energy, and then some. I tried to tire her out with long walks, thinking that surely a long stroll around the neighborhood would calm her down. But it didn't take long before I discovered that even an hour-long walk barely made a dent in her energy reserves. In fact, it seemed like the more I walked her, the more energized she became. She would pull at the leash, barking at birds, squirrels, and any moving object she could spot. A peaceful stroll turned into a workout session for me, as I struggled to maintain control and keep her from darting off after anything that moved. One particular outing stands out. It was a hot summer afternoon and I decided to take her on a hike. I thought the uneven terrain and distance would finally wear her out. But instead of a calm hike through the woods, I found myself being pulled and dragged over rocks, roots, and dirt. She was relentless. Her sheer enthusiasm to explore every scent and chase after every rustle in the leaves was overwhelming. I remember vividly tripping over a branch as she bolted forward, sending both of us tumbling. And of course, she was unfazed, ready to keep going, while I lay there breathless, wondering how much longer I could keep up with her. The destruction at home. Exercise wasn't the only challenge. When she was left alone, even for just a short time, the destruction she would cause was jaw-dropping. Despite my best efforts to puppy-proof the house, she managed to find a way to chew, rip, and shred anything that was within her reach. The shoes I had carelessly left by the door became her favorite chew toys. My once comfortable couch looked like a battlefield, with stuffing strewn across the living room. One of the most painful moments for me came when I returned home from a quick grocery run. I had left her in the living room with her favorite toys, thinking she'd be fine for just an hour. But when I walked through the door, I was greeted by the sight of my favorite chair, the one that had been passed down from my grandmother, completely destroyed. She had ripped the upholstery apart and gnawed the wooden legs to splinters. I stood there heartbroken, not knowing whether to cry or scream. The emotional toll of owning a Malinois started to hit me hard. Training struggles and emotional defeat. I had always prided myself on my ability to train dogs. I had owned dogs before, and I thought I knew what I was doing. But training a Belgian Malinois was a completely different ballgame. It wasn't just about teaching her commands. It was about maintaining control, staying calm, and outsmarting her, all while juggling her relentless energy. Our training sessions often ended in frustration, with me feeling like a failure. She had a mind of her own, and getting her to follow commands was a struggle. She was stubborn, independent, and seemed to test my patience at every turn. I remember one session where I was trying to teach her the sit command. She would sit for a brief second, then immediately stand up and start bouncing around again. No amount of treats, praise, or positive reinforcement seemed to work. The worst part came when she began to show signs of aggression. She would growl when I tried to correct her or snap when I attempted to guide her movements. I had never experienced this with any other dog, and it left me feeling scared and helpless. I started to wonder if I had made a mistake. Had I taken on more than I could handle? If you have liked the video so far, please consider subscribing. The dog park debacle. The moment that made me seriously question everything was a trip to the dog park. I thought that maybe letting her run free with other dogs would help burn off some of her excess energy. For the first few minutes, everything seemed fine. She played with the other dogs, running back and forth. But then, she spotted a squirrel at the edge of the park. Without hesitation, she bolted after it, completely ignoring my frantic calls for her to come back. The other dog owners looked at me, concerned and confused, as I stood there helpless, watching my dog disappear into the woods. It took me nearly an hour to find her, and when I finally did, she was completely unbothered, panting happily as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, I was drenched in sweat, exhausted and filled with a mix of relief and frustration. I had never felt more out of control as a dog owner. The final straw. But the final straw came during a professional training session. I had decided that maybe a trainer could succeed where I had failed. We arrived at the session and everything started off okay. The trainer tried to work with her, but it didn't take long for my Malinois to show her stubborn side. She refused to listen, and when the trainer tried to correct her behavior, she growled and snapped at him. I stood there mortified. Here was a professional trainer, someone who had dealt with countless dogs, and even he was struggling to handle her. That was the moment when it hit me. Maybe owning a Belgian Malinois was a bad idea. I wasn't prepared for the amount of dedication, commitment, and expertise required to raise a high-energy, intelligent dog like her. I had underestimated the breed's needs and overestimated my own abilities. It wasn't just about love and affection. It was about providing a structured, disciplined, and active lifestyle that I wasn't able to maintain. Looking back, lessons learned. Looking back, I realized that my excitement about owning a Belgian Malinois clouded my judgment. I had fallen in love with the idea of having a loyal, intelligent companion, but didn't fully understand the reality of what owning one truly entailed. These dogs are not for the faint of heart, and they require more than just the basics of food, shelter, and exercise. They need an owner who can match their energy, who is committed to daily mental and physical stimulation, and who can handle the challenges that come with such a high-drive breed. The biggest lesson I've learned is that owning a dog, especially one as demanding as a Malinois, requires a lifestyle change. It's not enough to want a dog. You have to be prepared to live for the dog, to structure your day around their needs, and to dedicate yourself to providing them with the environment they need to thrive. Final thoughts. Would I do it again? So, was owning a Belgian Malinois a bad idea? In some ways, yes. I wasn't ready, and I didn't fully understand what I was getting into. But would I change the experience? I'm not so sure. She has taught me more about patience, perseverance, and responsibility than any other dog I've owned. And despite all the challenges, I've grown as a dog owner. If you're considering getting a Belgian Malinois, make sure you do your research, not just on the breed, but on yourself. Are you ready for the commitment? Can you provide the structured, active lifestyle they need? If the answer is yes, then you might just find yourself with one of the most loyal and intelligent companions you'll ever have. Thanks for watching, and if you have any experience with dog ownership, especially with high-energy breeds, please share your stories in the comments below. Don't forget to check out my other videos on pet care and subscribe for more content.